The last time we spoke, you were still only just been sort of appointed. How are things gone preparation-wise for the team?
Very well. Yeah, we worked well over. Well, I think you and I spoke just prior to Christmas, and then we took a little break over Christmas period. But since that first week in January, back on it, back on the tools. Collating all the boys, getting them together, and then we've just had the first camp in Calpe, which went very, very well. We were down Neil and Taylor as they were coming back from overseas, but the other 10 came over. Poor Isaac was a bit ill, but he still acquitted himself well, got stuck in where he could. But yeah, it's great to actually now have that sort of arrive, get going. So yeah.
It's all, the behind the scenes stuff's almost done, I would assume, although it's an ongoing thing. But actually getting in the car and doing stuff.
That's right. Yeah. No, that's it's just nice not to be champing at the bit. It's actually now right here we are. Let's get things done. It's looking like bike racing time.
First camp's always been in the past anyway a bonding camp. Very casual, get to know each other. Get a few miles in.
Yeah. I mean, we, make no bones about it. There were a few very hard days. I was quite happy to see the boys getting stuck in and sort of taking chunks out of themselves a couple of days. But then we sort of tempered that with a couple of very structured days. We were doing sort of VO2 and higher zone stuff, shorter days, but good recovery and massage. And as you say, the team bonding. We had a barbecue one night, a few beers, a couple of glasses of wine, and that's what you need. And you still come out of it with some good mileage, some good quality work, but as a more cohesive unit, and hopefully a few friendships rekindled and made. And it's good for me as well because I was able to ride my bike with the boys, get in there, have a look at them, be able to ride next to somebody in a group and watch how they sit on a wheel.
You've also got your coaching head on as well.
Very much so. Yeah. Just watching what they do, how they save energy, how they don't. Are they wasteful? Are they busy on the bike? How are they recovering? How are they prepping for tomorrow? Always sort of not just the DS cap on, but that coaching and
make sure they get the most from themselves.
Yeah, very definitely.
So I think with life in general, people miss things from their own perspective. So it's nice to have someone there on your back. So not on your back, but looking at.
Yeah.
There's a phrase.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Having your back. Next camp.
Yeah.
More serious.
Very much so. I've drawn up. It's 12 days. Classic 3 on 3 up. Yeah, 3 on 1 off, 3 on 1 off. Very structured. Shorter stuff to start with. Rest day. Big block in the middle. Basically, nearly 20 hours in 3 days, and then shorter, sharper stuff. Towards the end. Again, specific, split into smaller groups. Some of the guys riding more flat and sprint-based stuff. Some of the guys just going out and doing hill reps. But yeah, I mean, without giving too much away, it's a lot more structure, some real high-end stuff, getting that speed in there, and making it, a little bit of sort of race simulation as well. We're only 12 riders, but to actually, rub handlebars with somebody in a sprint, it's important.
I mean, things like lead-out trains and I don't know, just stuff that you generally do in a race together. It's nice to be able to get that done in a camp situation.
It is. Yeah, very much so. I'd rather people make mistakes in the training camps than come the first race. But again, with the exception of one or two, they're all experienced bike riders. They're all experienced professional bike riders. Most of them have been pro now for a couple of years. Those corners should be sort of neatly rounded off now.
Race program. I understand. Going back to the camp, I understand it's almost like a selection camp as well in some ways. So I understand Tour in Normandy.
Yeah.
That's one of the first ones.
Yeah. So we're back in the UK on March the 6th. So a few of the boys have entered. Roy Tame and Jock Wadley, a couple of other sort of national B races. Then a week later, straight over to Normandy.
And would that be the first one as a team, so to speak?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so even though we'll go and support the National Bees, and I'll turn up with the team car and sort of shout and scream at them, it will be Normandy that's the the first 6 selection and the first team. It is. It's a bugger. Let's face it. It's a real tough. It's a hard man's race. The weather can be horrendous, as you probably know, and there's one stage going up the coast which will be side winds. So I've got a tough job to do over the next couple of weeks. Is make that selection, and I guess the beauty of it is I'm not looking at it as preparation per se for Yorkshire, because there's too much time in between the two. So I'm looking at it as 2 very different races. So we'll probably have a selection of the flat fast sprinters in Normandy, and the little mountain goats for Yorkshire.
And will you be running a dual program, or do the riders just, if they're not selected, just do the National Bees or whatever they?
As much as we can, for a true dual program. It's not just doubling up, sort of cost-wise. It's doubling up on staff, which we can do, but it just starts to run away. So where possible, I'm encouraging the guys to support the local races, support the National Bee, support time trials. If you're not racing, well, why not get out there, ride a 10 or a 25? If you don't like riding time trials, well, go and ride a local crit, go and do something. Don't just sit at home and sort of twiddle your thumbs thinking, I should be riding Tour of Sibiu or wherever. So just to get out there and race a bit more.
So early season, what are the, because I assume if you're not running a dual program, then it's the Prems, Tour of Britain selection, Tour Series, that sort of thing.
Very much so, yeah.
It's the program's made for you, sort of thing. Yeah, it is. I've tried where possible to get invites to UCI races that I think would be, advantageous and good hard racing in preparation for those. Some of them have been forthcoming, some haven't. It's just the nature of constantly racing. So where possible, we'll do some overseas racing, come back, rest up, ride the Prems, ride the Tour Series. As I said earlier, the Tour Series is massive for us. It's big. We want to go in there, and we want to take it to JLT. And we want that mantle back. I want to see these guys on that podium. We're going to race to win, and it's going to be a good battle. Never ever forget that third thief coming in. I know, the Iceberg guys, One Pro, they're all going to be vying for it. We all need points, and we all need those victories. So it's going to be exciting times. I was going to say, it's a very, very competitive season.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Looking back at your days racing, you raced in Belgium, you raced here. How much of that will be fed into the Madison Genesis? As
much as possible. I was chatting with one of the lads in the week, and we were saying it's really good because I get nervous doing a National B, and I get quite nervous doing a Prem, and it's good to be able to talk to you because you've ridden Olympic finals, you've ridden World finals, you're a Commonwealth fighter. And how did you deal with nerves? And it's good to have that experience as a rider, just to be able to take them sort of to one side and say, look, it's normal to have this. It's how you deal with it. And it's good for them to have me here as a sounding board. So as long as I can have the time to impart that knowledge and to impart that sort of, I wouldn't say sort of, experience, but it's the experience at the highest level. It's good that way.
Now you mentioned something over there early before we started chatting about bikes. Now back in our day, your day followed my day. Bikes steel.
Yep.
And Genesis do both.
They do.
Since you've come on board, have you got Genesis bikes?
I do, yeah. They've been very generous. I had one of last year's Zeros, which I rode the Hill Climb Champs on. Absolutely loved it. It's a fantastic bike. And then I've latterly jumped on one of the new bikes. And again, that's, different geometry. It's really sharp, nifty, lovely bike to ride. And I've got the use at the moment of Mike Northey's old steel Volare, and again, it's a lovely bike to ride. So
steel bikes these days, how different are they to our day?
Lighter, stiffer. I look back at some of the things we had to ride around, charging up the Camelberg and up the Muir and things like that, and looking down at your bottom bracket and just watching it move side to side to, comparable things these days. And it's worlds and worlds apart, not just the weight.
So bike riders are very lucky these days.
Oh, yeah. I think they know it as well.
So finally, yourself, in terms of when you're out when these guys are training, because we know Hill Climb Champs was the last time I saw you race, and you've still got a little bit of hunger there. Will we see you in doing any time trials, or will we see you out with the boys in training and all that?
Yeah, you will. Took a couple of months over Christmas and sort of New Year, and didn't do very much on the bike, and sort of got the winter hit and thought, well, I can't be doing this. But then I've just pulled the socks up and got on with it. So I'll be doing stuff on the bike in camp with the boys. I stayed on in Calpe for a bit and got a big block in there. And as I've said, one of the best ways to get to know your riders and to be able to impart that knowledge is, there's one thing shouting out of the window of a car or driving a motorcycle next to them,
but half-wheeling them.
Exactly, yeah. So, I'll do some days in the car, some days on the bike with them in second camp. I'll do some specifics myself, and I will be doing time trials. I will be doing, hopefully, some road racing if I can slide a National B in here or there. And then latterly, after Tour of Britain, then, if I can do some LVRC stuff or TLI, I will. You never know, might do Masters Tour of Mallorca again.
One thing I didn't ask was the riders, and again, if you haven't seen this yet, because I know Neil wasn't at the first camp, but do you know where your guys fit into the team now in terms of their strengths? This guy's your sprinter, and this guy's our client, like Matt's a climber. And all that.
Yeah, and a few of them have actually surprised me. We looked at Matt and said, you're going to be going fantastically in the hills and whatever, and he said to us, well, could I have a go in the sprint? Of course you can, mate. Right, boys, we're dropping Matt in instead of, and Eric, you want to have a, so we did that, and young Matt surprised us all. He was up there with the fast sprinters, the fast finishers, the sprinters, and then a couple of times, one of the climbs over there, Pinos, basically Atkins took off up the road, and it was a massive chase after him. Nobody caught him, so he's going well in the climbs, and you think, hang on, he's a good, he's a former career, so. And then you've got Connor, who at the moment is just absolutely screaming fit. It doesn't matter if you put a wall in front of him, he gets up it. So it's great to see.
Team.
It is, yeah. I think I said to you, or I said in a previous interview, there's no one leader. We've got leaders, and they're all winners, and they all will win. And that, for a DS, team manager, whatever you want to call it, that is just, it's such a fantastic feeling to know that basically 12 out of 12 can win bike races. And I've got